So procrastination comes down to boredom, complacency, and safety. But if you begin to strip those away, then it will lead you to feel paranoid and eager to avoid bad consequences. How do you smash procrastination when it's such a huge problem? Coming up. Hi, you cool cats. Cajun here, the Saxophone coach, bringing you the best practice tips, tools, and ideas to help you as a beginner saxophone player develop the practice habits and routines to master your saxophone faster. Now, my purpose is to serve, motivate, and to inspire you. So if it's your first time here, consider subscribing and remember to turn on that notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a new video on this channel. Now, 2 weeks ago, I dropped an original single called I Am a Target. And if you haven't listened to it yet, check the cards above and the link in the description below. Now, just before we dive in, I want to send two big shout outs. Number one, to Nizzle Entertainment, who has taken the time to promote my new single on his TikTok and Instagram accounts. And the second big shout out goes to Health is Wealth, my faithful subscriber and supporter who posted it on Facebook and other social media platforms. And I'll leave the link to their channels below. They have some great content over on their channel. Check it out, guys. So how do you smash procrastination? Now, let's consider Jim and John. Jim has a good work ethic while John is a procrastinator. Now, both are saxophone players who were hired to play at a major event, doing their solo acts at different time intervals during that event. Now, both men are required to perform 1 hour long sets of music on their sax. They both got equal amount of time, 30 days, to prepare for the event. Now, Jim, who is a perfectionist, starts to rehearse from day one after gathering all the information and pieces of music to be performed at the event. He spends 2 to 3 hours daily leading up to the event working and fine-tuning his music because that's the amount of time required to make the music hit a home run on show day. John, on the other hand, the procrastinator, he procrastinates the first day. He didn't practice at all, so he needed to catch up on his practice the next day by doubling the hours, right? To make up for the day before. John was busy binge watching his favorite TV show while neglecting to work on his solo act. Now, after he got bored with himself and being drained of his energy from much TV watching, he began scrolling through his social media feed, checking for likes and comments on his latest picture on his favorite social media page. And note as well, he checks his phone over 400 times in one day. 10 days before the event, John was overwhelmed because he had limited amount of time to really prepare for show day. Now, he scrambled to get the music prepared. On the other hand, Jim is in the final stage of polishing his performance and fine-tuning and eliminating some minor errors that would otherwise be catastrophic to his performance. So, Jim practiced and prepared himself on a consistent basis. On the day of the event, John turned up and he was a hot mess, because he hadn't spent much time sleeping the last 3 days before show day as he was hammering away at getting his music ready at the 11th hour. Jim, however, turned up cool and collected, went on stage and blew the crowd away while his fans raved over his performance. From that show, he got called for several others and his calendar for the year was fully booked. When it was John's turn, he went on stage and from the get-go everyone could tell that John had not fully rehearsed for his performance. He made a mess of himself. A few of his fans cheered, but no wowing of the crowd. The events manager who hired John was very disappointed with his performance. And because of his poor performance, he spent the rest of the year trying to get gigs to pay his bills. But how could John have gotten what he wanted, which is watching his favorite TV show, while at the same time consistently preparing for his big performance and beat procrastination? Let me tell you how. John could have used what is called, number one, temptation bundling. And this is by Katy Milkman of the University of Pennsylvania. Now, when you think temptation bundling, think about watching TV while exercising. By the way, I don't watch TV. I just want to use that so that you get the point, okay? So what you're doing is pairing something that gratifies you, watching TV in the present, with another behavior, which is exercising, that's not so gratifying, in which the results are not experienced immediately, but later in the future. Now, you have two selves, your present self and your future self. That involves what is called time inconsistency, of having desires that do not overlap. One wants gratification now, while the other wants it in the future. So in order to get what the future self wants, you have to get the present self to take the necessary steps or action to reap the future success. So if you want to become a star saxophone player, you have to put in the hard work and practice now, sharpening your craft and putting yourself out there so that people can know who you are in order to support you on your journey to stardom and fame. Number two, John could have used what you call small, easy increments. Now, we often overestimate what we can do in a day, but underestimate what we can do in a month. So let's say you want to climb over a high wall. You could do so by collecting small pebbles daily. That will eventually build you a ladder, a ramp, or a step to climb over the wall. That's an easy action you can take without thinking twice, right? On the other hand, you could frustrate yourself by trying to collect huge rocks that takes 2 to 3 persons to lift, right? Or boulders, thereby complicating the process where you never take any action at all. Think of my 5-minute practice rule, and I'll link it in the cards above and the description below. You want to make the action you are taking as easy as possible, so you start by practicing for 5 minutes, and this will in turn build your momentum to get you beyond 1 to 2 hours of practice time. Number 3, consider the risks. This strategy, business moguls like Bill Gates, who a lot of people don't like these days, has used because it makes him hyper vigilant about what may go wrong. It's like a paranoia. You want to get it right, so you waste no time on working on your project or your craft because the risk of losing out is present. You may lose the opportunity as somebody might first you with the same idea. So you are constantly and consistently working to avoid certain challenges or problems. Now, thinking about what could possibly go wrong can serve to motivate you to work and thereby beating procrastination. So in our case, what could possibly go wrong? Well, you are getting paid for a gig. And like Jim, you practice and prepare consistently so that you can avoid the pitfalls that John experienced. Now, I'd appreciate you guys if you drop me some support by dropping me a like and a comment below, and also share one strategy that you use to beat procrastination so that you work on your craft as a saxophone player. And as always, push play until something happens. Peace.